Hi, my name is Vicki and I'm with Arts is Healing. We're really excited to be with you guys today as we work through the process of making jewelry. So each of you should have gotten a baggie that would look something like this. And I took out all the different components. So first we can talk about them and then we'll go into the process of talking about design and then talking about construction. All righty. So first of all, each of you have a yellow charm that of course is going to be used in each of your pieces. So you each received one of those. So I think in your set, you have two wires. We had extra, so we wanted to give you choices to make two, but one will obviously have this in it, okay? And then if we look across here, we color separated the check glass beads for you. These each have facets, so the shine and the light that reflects off of them, that's how you differentiate facets from something that does not have a facet. And the facets can vary as you see as the way the light is hitting these. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors to work with. And you've got some smaller, which are about 4 millimeter little pearl beads. And then the glass beads are around 6 millimeter, just for your information. As we keep moving across, these are called dangles because what we do is use these at the very end to finish off from the wire. And on your wire, if you look at your wire for a second, one end will have this nice little curvy on it, if you can see on my finger like this. And what we're going to do is be able to attach things to it as such. All right, we'll come back and revisit that, of course. So as we keep moving over, so we've got these that are already finished for you. We move over and we have some different type of beads that have glazes on them. So we've got these long ladybugs. And if you pick one up, you'll see the bead, every single bead on here has already been drilled. So sometimes it'll be drilled this way, sometimes it'll be end to end. So you'll just have to investigate and see what you like. And then, of course, we have some more that have already been drilled as well. And these are a bit larger. Over in the corner here, I put stoppers. These are tiny, tiny. I don't know if y'all are familiar with these or not. This is at the end, or if you're in the process of working on a bracelet and you decide to take a break, then you're just going to put the stopper on so things don't go flying off. All right. So these will become your best friend. Okay. They're my best friend for sure as they fly around, and they will. All right. So as we move this way, though, we're going to go into silver. So this is called bally. Okay. These are little bally. And what they are they're made out of sterling silver. And they're little spacers that can be used in between beads. As you see on the little dangle that we have here, we have our check bead. We also have two little ballies. And then we have the finish off. So ballies can be used in this way to finish off a piece. This again would be around the hook that we have on there it is right there. You can see it right there to finish. And we gave you two sets. You can use same color, or you can switch it out. Up to you and your design, of course. So we want each of yours to be very different. As we move over, this is a different style of bally. So these, again, be sure to look carefully on how they're drilled. So these will all flow in a horizontal fashion. Okay, so this takes up a tiny bit of space, right? Because it's standing up. This is laying down, taking up about 1/4 of an inch. And then let's look at these spacers that really take up probably a little over an inch. And they're already curved. And again, they were all tubular and they're ready to be placed on here. All right. And then when we talk about spacers and we talk about bally and everything, they can take on different forms, different shapes, different designs. And so we wanted to put in some of these for you as well. And when I first looked at them way back, I thought that you would put the wire straight on top where I see the design come together. Later, when I looked more closely, they're an end to end. So again, all beads have a different special design to them. Okay, lastly, what you have is something called memory wire. And there's two, so they might be stuck together, and it's just kind of like unrolling something that got stuck. So you have two, and what happens is you'll separate them off and you'll do one at a time. One end has already been curved, as you can see, little curl on it. So if you started to bead, you wouldn't have to put one of these white stoppers on here because this will stop it for us. The other end, of course, we have to leave wide open because this is how we're going to use it to design and create and then to feed on, to process it. All right. So this is going to be your needle basically as you work through all these. So the first thing, would we just take this and just start beating on and see if it looks good, looks bad, make a decision, undo it? I think not. I think the best way to approach this is to put this aside, truthfully, right now. Let's just put it aside. We know it's going to come in a round. It's going to fit on anyone because that's what's so nice about these wires is they stretch, they move, they have a memory. You can pull them a little bit and they'll fit nicely around anyone, any size, all of that. And if they're a little tight, you do this to them. And if they're a little too big, you can squeeze them a little bit. All right. So there's that. So the one thing that I think is really important here, and the reason we gave you so many different things is we want you to each design your own. And from what I had heard about this project was that you were going to design a bracelet for someone that is important to you. So we gave you a wide variety of colors and choices and components because we want you to have the freedom to design whatever you would like. And there may be something special that you would do for a certain person. And then the other one for yourself, you go all out in the direction that you would like to. So the one thing that seems to be really helpful before we get here and start just putting things on and then taking them off and putting it on and taking it off because we don't like it is to create it. So if you have anything around, I have a wooden pencil here that I'm going to use so that as I lay things down, they won't go rolling off or out of whack on me. I want to keep control of them. So we can talk about colors. We can talk about design. We can talk about repetition. So let's talk repetition first, okay? So by definition, repetition, of course, means it repeats, right? So I'm just going to put 3 out here, and I might even curve them differently. Normally, these go in the same shape, and they will, truthfully, for your memory wire. If you're designing something differently, you could flip and flop these. So they've got lots of potential. And then say maybe we want a color that's going to be on either side of them. So I'm going to play with this, and maybe I'll put that color here. Maybe I'll put this here. And then maybe we'll keep extending that a little bit. All right, so where I can come up with different colors. Okay, or we can come in here and have this. We can have a bead. We can put in a little bally here. We can put in a bally on this side. So it depends on what your preference is of what you like, because these tend to finish off a bead very nicely and have them jump out in a nice way, in a very finished, polished look. If we come over here and do it a little bit differently, we could attach a multitude of beads, and I'm going to pick some various colors and let them just blend together. I think I'm going to stay away from the pink with this little group that I have. So maybe I'll just use these 4. Okay, and I might put these in a row very specifically together without any spacers in between. Okay, and then I might come on and put this in place. So I might repeat this pattern. I might have 4 check beads and then 2 ballies. Or what I could do when I said I wasn't going to use the bright color, I might pick one bright and put that in the middle. So I've got an odd number, which makes it a little bit more interesting. Okay, and then I could repeat that all the way around. Another opportunity is we've given you so many different supplies that you don't have to use the ballies or the spacers at all. You could do everything in bead form if you so choose. All right. So, but I'm going to show you a couple of little things so that you'll understand as you make your choices what might appeal to you. Okay. So when we have the wire, remember I told you this was going to be the needle. So this is the needle part for you. All right. And say I'm going to start off. I kind of like this idea. So I'm going to start by picking up one of these. And again, that's a bally. I tend to put it in my hand because it's easier just to move it on. And then I let it slide. And I don't need to slide it to the end because I'm going to start looking. So I'm liking this idea. All right. So I know I'm going to like that and I'm going to repeat it. So I'm going to go over here and get the check bead. And this is a dark toned one, right? And then I'm going to pick up the one over here. And you could put a few in your hand if you wanted and have them ready. I'm keeping this down here for a reason, because since I am going to do a repeated piece, I want this to be my sample that I'm going to go by. Okay, so that's my reference point, and I'm going to hold on to that reference point as I go so that I can just look down and not and think, okay, now I'm going for the lighter color. So I'm going to go over here and find one of those, and I'll put it in place. All right. And some of you might like to bead it this way where you actually come and pick it up. So it's up to you. Everyone has a different approach on how they deal with the beads. I like one at a time because it keeps me focused on what I'm doing. And then again, I'm going to close that off with a little square bally, right? So I'm going to put that here. And I'm going to feed right through it. And here we go. So now I'm going to look at it because I want to see. Let me get it on some area that is very easy for you to see. I like the way that's looking. I can even lay this down. I'm going to pull this guy away just for a minute. I'm going to set this down so I can see how the whole thing is going to come together if I repeat. And I like the way that looks. And maybe I would put one thing in there that might be very, very unusual. Like I might take one of these larger beads, or I might choose to put my my ribbon in the middle opposed to the end. But the end, it's going to be more fun because it's more dramatic. So let's go ahead and repeat one more time. All right. So again, I would start with a dark. So here I am. And I'm going to go ahead and do the green. And there it is. And then I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to take one of these very large ones and I'm going to put it in place because color wise, it tends to flow together. And I kind of like the look of that. All right. Now, for some of you, that might be way too many beads altogether. So you might do let's take this off just to show you some variations because we want you to do your own thing and feel comfortable with what you're doing. All right. So here we are back again at our beginning. And maybe now we're going to put in a spacer because maybe that was just too much going on at the same time. So now let's take a peek at it. So that gave us a little room to breathe, so to speak, in our design, right? So now I can come back and start again and go back into my sequence. So I'm always checking and looking at the same time, but these are really nice finishing pieces. So instead of just having this raw edge, we have pieces that actually finish it off for you. All right, so we can do repetition. We can introduce a lot of spacers and maybe just have a couple of stones. We can use some big beads and a lot of silver and keep it in that format. We can mix it up. So you are the artist. You are the creators of this. I do want you to design first on your felt so that you can get an idea. You don't have to design the whole thing, but it might be helpful because you need to know how much you need to fill this up because we don't want to leave any of the wire empty. So if in doubt, add some more spacers into here, okay? Because that fills some space and then it's more comfortable on your wrist. All right. Okay, so I think we're ready to begin. What we do want to show you first, though, before we leave you, is the very, very end of finishing off. Once you have your design done, once you have threaded everything through and you're ready to go. And we have someone who's really, really good at doing this. Her name is Jeannie. She's one of our volunteers, and we're going to turn it over to Jeannie at this point, and she'll give you a quick little visual on how to do the dangles and also how to place the your special charm. Okay. Thank you, Jeannie. I'll be back.
Jeannie Heller, and I'm a volunteer for Arts is Healing, and I'm going to show you how to finish the bracelets. So you've strung it. The first thing that you had was, it was stopped at the end, the little loop at the end, and then you went all the way around. And at the end, when you were finished, you put a stopper on it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the end where there is the loop. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the charm. And I'll put that on. And then I have a crimper, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to close it. And the important thing about finishing is you want to make sure that metal is touching metal. And I'm saying that. So in other words, where it's twisted, you see we've just about got it. With the charm being a little bit, charm wire being a little bit harder, but anyway, you want to make sure that's not going to fall off. And so that's almost touching it. That'll keep it from falling off. Okay, then what we do is we'll turn it around and we're going to work on the other side. Okay, and we have pre-made dangles here, so we're going to take one of those. So we're only going to be putting one dangle on because the charm is on the other side. So we're going to take this with a needle nose plier. I mean, there are other things. It's the easiest way to do it with a needle nose plier, and we want to make sure it's really tight. So in other words, there aren't any spaces in between. And then the easiest way, we know it doesn't have to be done this way, but make sure that it's the right length. We're going to go take a clipper, and you can see it's just going to be half of it as far as length. You can eyeball it too, but that gives us the exact length we need. I hope you can see that little extra, tiny part there, but it's going to give the exact length we need to do the rest of the finishing. So we're going to pull the stopper off, make sure all the beads don't fly off. And then we're going to put the dangle on, and then we're going to take the needle nose plier and we're going to turn it the same way the other ones turn, to the outside. Okay. And then we take it. So we've got it, not quite. And you have to make sure to get it down beyond. This one is just a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to take the crimper and we're going to close it. So you see metal is touching metal, so it's not going to fall off. So we have two dangles. One is the ribbon and one is the blue dangle. Okay, that does it.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jeannie, for showing us how to finish off a beautiful piece. And we are so excited. We hope you are excited to design and really play with all of these things. This is your palette. You're the artist. This is the palette. Come up with any kind of design you want and think about colors if you're doing it for someone else, what they might like. So we hope you enjoy your time. You cannot make a mistake. You cannot do anything wrong. You will end up with a wonderful piece. So enjoy. And if you want to take a pic and send it to us, we would love to have it. And that would be at artshealing@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing them. Thank you. Bye-bye.